Okay, let's dive into one of the biggest human resource puzzles on the entire planet, Pakistan. This is a story of just massive potential crashing right into some incredible challenges. And the big question is, how do you turn a population boom of this scale into a real economic powerhouse? Well, let's get into it.
First things first, you have to appreciate the sheer scale we're talking about here. The 2023 census puts Pakistan's population at over 241 million people. I mean, that is a huge number, making it one of the most populous countries in the world. But as you're about to see, that massive total is really just the beginning of the story.
Because, it's not just about how many people there are, it's about who they are. And look at this breakdown. Over half the country is of working age, and a staggering 26% are young people, between 15 and 29. Now, this is what experts call the demographic dividend, a giant pool of potential workers. But here's the thing. This can go one of two ways. It can be a powerful engine for growth, or it can become a source of immense social pressure. It really all depends on what happens next.
And that brings us right to our first major hurdle. You see, a demographic dividend is just a number on a page if people aren't healthy enough to actually be productive. So we've got to start at the foundation, the nation's health.
And right away, we can see some pretty serious progress. Just look at these numbers showing the growth in the health workforce. The number of doctors, it's jumped by almost 100,000 in just 6 years. That's a huge leap. And the number of nurses is climbing too. This is a really critical investment in the country's basic health infrastructure.
Right, but having more doctors and nurses on the ground is only part of the solution. Pakistan is also in the middle of tackling several major public health crises head-on, and that requires these huge, targeted programs to really make a dent. Let's take a look at a couple of them.
Take hepatitis C, for instance. The government has launched this incredibly ambitious 3-year program costing nearly 68 billion rupees, and the goal? To screen, test, and treat half of the eligible population, giving them free antiviral medicines. This isn't just a health initiative, it's an economic one. The idea is to boost the country's long-term productivity by getting people healthy.
And this is absolutely a multi-front war. From giving free treatment to over 250,000 tuberculosis patients, to handing out 8 million anti-malaria nets, all the way to scaling up HIV prevention. The strategy is clearly to build a comprehensive health shield for the entire population. So general health is one massive piece of the puzzle, but the very building blocks of a person's potential, of human capital, it all starts with nutrition. And this brings us to a really fundamental question. Is this huge young generation actually being built to reach its full potential?
The main enemy here has a name, stunting. And let's be clear, this isn't just about kids being short. It's about irreversible damage to a child's brain development and their future. A stunted generation? Well, that means a stunted economy. It basically undermines that whole demographic dividend before it even has a chance to get going.
Now, there is some positive news on this front. After those devastating floods really hit food supplies, you can see a clear recovery here in the average number of calories available per person. That kind of resilience is absolutely vital, but it's just the baseline. See, having enough calories is just the first step. The next major battle is making sure they are the right calories.
And that battle is being fought with some very specific initiatives. You've got programs like the Benazir Nachanama program, which gives cash and nutritious food specifically to mothers and young kids, really zeroing in on that critical first 1,000 days window. The provinces are also rolling out their own big plans. It's all aimed at one thing, building a stronger, smarter future generation.
Okay, so let's imagine you succeed. You've built a healthy population. The next challenge is just as big, if not bigger. How do you transform those healthy bodies into skilled minds? How do you create a productive workforce that's ready for the 21st century economy?
A huge piece of Pakistan's economy relies on its workers going abroad, especially to the Gulf countries. As you can see, Saudi Arabia is by far the largest destination. We're talking over 60% of all overseas workers. And the money they send home, the remittances, that's an absolute lifeline for the country's economy. But here is the problem. Take a look at this. The vast majority of those workers we just talked about are classified as unskilled. And while there's a good chunk of skilled workers, the number of highly skilled and qualified professionals, it's tiny in comparison. This right here, this is the skill gap in stark reality, and it seriously limits the earning potential of both the workers and the nation as a whole.
So, the government is trying to tackle this head-on with its National Vocational and Technical Training Commission, or NAVTTC. They're training tens of thousands of young people in high-demand skills, things like IT and industrial trades. They're even partnering with giants like Google and Microsoft for certifications. And crucially, they are trying to directly align all this training with what employers, especially in places like Saudi Arabia, are actually looking for.
Building health and skills is absolutely crucial, but to truly unlock a country's potential, you have to empower the entire workforce. That means tearing down systemic barriers and making sure that every single person has a real chance to contribute.
And this is where something like the Prime Minister's Women Empowerment Package comes in. It's really a multi-pronged attack on the barriers that keep women out of the formal economy. It's not just one thing. It's about access to money through interest-free loans, practical support like daycare centers, safe transportation, and even a guaranteed seat at the table in corporate boardrooms. You see, empowering women isn't just a social goal, it's an economic imperative.
The scale of this challenge is just immense, but the initiatives are ambitious. From public health to nutrition, from technical skills to empowering women, all the pieces are being put in place. The ultimate question, though, the one that is really going to define Pakistan's future, is this. Will it all be enough, and can it happen fast enough to turn this historic population boom into a true economic dividend?